Future Jam.
Welcome to the Future Jam, a tech news podcast for enthusiasts and casual listeners alike. I'm Mike, and once again, I'm just here with Alex this week.
Hey everybody, it's me, Alex. Yeah, no special guests.
Yep, we're not bringing Pat back ever again. He completely messed up the whole show. Made a mess of it.
We were told it was the worst show ever, and that was my opinion. And I told that to myself. So.
Sorry, Pat, but, next school year, we'll bring you back, buddy.
We can do the end of the school year special with him.
Goodbye, kids. Yeah, so we're actually at the end of the summer now. Labor Day is around the corner. Is that technically the end of summer?
No, technically the last day of summer is September 21st.
I don't know if we're going to make it that long, but yes. We'll make it to the end of summer.
But the unofficial summer is Labor Day, is the last day. It's a late Labor Day this year.
Yeah, I'm not one to celebrate it that often, but...
You don't grill out or wave the American flag or tell your boss to shove it, I'm not working today.
All right, you got anything interesting to say, Alex, before we jump into the show?
Let's jump into the show. No, I'm done. No, we were talking about Labor Day and labor rights, and I saw an article where China supposedly has this thing, 996. Have you seen that?
No.
I guess there are a ton of workers burn out because they work 9 a.m. to 9 p.m. 6 days a week.
What? That's like a common thing there?
Yeah, and I think it was like big in like the article I was reading, it was like a journalist and all that had like a breakdown. And it was like they call it like 996.
So I guess this is like people who are working in factories there, that type of thing?
I think it's just a cultural thing that they have that they're trying to break the trend. And we'll talk about China a little bit later too, but they have a lot of weird things going on over there.
Yeah, I feel like that's very unhealthy for someone to work that many hours a week, and
that's
kind of feel bad for their people.
That's what the article is talking about. Like, I don't think it's forced, like that. Like it's not forced upon them, but it's what they kind of expect it. You ever have those jobs where like you're not expected to work you're not required to work overtime. You're just expected to work overtime, which shouldn't be a thing.
No. Yeah, you feel like your boss is like, you want to look good for the boss for when they do raises or promotions.
Also, any job that like, we always have overtime, that means there's like a staffing issue. No job should always have overtime.
Yeah, I completely agree with you. There should not be a thing where every week there's overtime. Like there should not be a point where overtime is a week. Then it's not overtime anymore. It's just regular time.
Yeah, but they're just required to pay you time and a half.
Well, yeah.
That's all it is.
It's regular time plus time and a half.
Yeah.
But if it's happening on regular occurrence, then I'm with you. Like they should just staff more. Like maybe if something unexpected comes along, overtime. Yeah,
like if somebody leaves or something like that, or you have like an influx of work that comes in, for like a little bit. But like it's just like usually it's a 40-hour week, but we usually end up working 50 all the time. It's like no, that's not how it should be. You should work 40, and then they should figure it out how to not have people work overtime.
Yeah, I'm perfectly fine with working a little bit more than my 40 hours, but if it becomes a standard practice where every week I'm working 50, then I'm looking for another job. But I have that luxury.
My job's lucky if they get me for a full 40 hours.
Yeah, usually napping in the bathroom.
Yeah, well, somebody has to.
Yeah, or people used to eat in the bathroom stall. I think one time I used to work where Alex works. One time I found a box of, I think it was Popeyes on the back of the toilet. So I'm like, maybe this guy ate an entire box of Popeye's chicken while he was sitting on the john.
I think I remember that.
But I don't know why you would do that. Like he was embarrassed maybe to be eating Popeyes at work, so he decided to do it in the bathroom.
Probably just killing time. But there's like places on the floor where you could go and no one could see you and you could just kill time.
But I just can't imagine eating finger food because fried chicken's finger food in a bathroom stall. That's like one of the most disgusting things to do. Like
eating anything in the bathroom.
Yeah, anything, but fried chicken in general, like you're touching that like all over. It's just disgusting. So
yeah.
Speaking of dumb things to do, you ready to jump into the dumb tech of the week?
You know it.
You're always ready for this.
Dumb tech of the week. Bum, 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 bum.
So recently it was announced that Windows 11 is coming, and I think it's October 5th now for a select number of devices. But Microsoft's been all over the place with Windows 11, and whether you can install it on your laptop or you can't install it on your laptop, it's been such a gray area, and a lot of people are like, can I or can't I? And Microsoft released like a list of like processors and all that. We're not going to get too deep with that because that's boring stuff. But basically, newer stuff will still get Windows 11. Older stuff, not officially supported.
You can get it.
But you can get it. They changed their minds, sort of. You can install it yourself with an ISO. But the caveat is they're not going to probably give you Windows updates or security updates. So you're just out on your own.
Yeah, it's odd. I think they got so much backlash saying like, oh, you need a newer computer to run Windows 11. So their workaround to try to make people happy was like, oh, now you can all get Windows 11, but if you don't have the newer computers, you're gonna get a crappy version of Windows 11.
Yeah, you're gonna get viruses. You're gonna have. You're gonna be open to like all sorts of like security threats.
So it makes sense. They're not forcing you to get Windows 11 because don't they have like Windows 10 for like another 2 years or something like that?
Yeah, they're gonna do updates for Windows 10 till like I think 2025.
Yeah, I think that's it.
And so they're not. You could still hang out in Windows 10 and. You know, if your laptop dies or your PC dies, obviously your next device you buy is going to be Windows 11. But if you have a device that's like 3 or 4 years old, it's probably not going to be officially supported by Windows 11, which is crazy because there's some high-end computers that existed 3 years ago that are perfectly fine now, and those aren't supported.
Yeah, even they said the Windows Surface 2 isn't supported by Windows 11, and that's like their product.
Yeah, there's some of their own products they're not going to be supporting, which is crazy as well.
So I wonder if Windows 11 needs like these more advanced chips and stuff to work, or they just want people to get. It's just odd that they would want people to get newer computers because you're not necessarily buying a Microsoft product. You're buying any computer really, and the computer companies aren't going to complain about this because people will be buying new computers.
My guess is that there's some code that they're running, some new code that maybe they're not for sure will run great on older laptops, and maybe that's why they're doing this. My guess is more nefarious, where they want to push an upgrade cycle and for people to get new devices. And Apple did the same thing with their new M1 chip. So if you got a MacBook with an M1, you have to get special software that is designed around that, and you can't port over certain things. So yeah, I think all these companies always come up with like smart ways to push upgrade cycles or get people to buy new things. And sometimes what companies do is they completely redesign the looks of a device to force an upgrade cycle. It sounds like to me they're just redesigning the software and artificially getting people to upgrade their machines.
Yeah, I agree. It's not a good look, I guess. But if they're going to give you time to upgrade, I get it. That's why I think they didn't extend the list of computers that were eligible at first, but then they got so much backlash for it. If you do have a computer and you want to update the Microsoft 11, you can use PC Health Check app, would determine if your computer can handle it.
It's just confusing for like the consumer.
Yeah, because you're going to see, Windows 11, I want to update, and that might not be the right thing for you to do.
Because in the past, you could stick, when Windows 10 came out, you could almost stick it on anything. And now it's like, no, we don't want your business.
Yeah, so it's just odd. I wonder, yeah, again, I don't know if it's just some technical thing that they haven't released why they want this better computers, like the newer computers to run it. I just don't know why. Just odd.
I don't know. I think it's odd in general. Jumping on to another PC-related topic, Samsung is the latest SSD manufacturer caught cheating its customers. So SSD is the solid-state drive, a hard drive in your computer that stores all your data. So these companies are sending out like hard drives to reviewers, and those reviewers like run spec tests on them to make sure like they download stuff fast and they run quick. And so they send them to the reviewers. The reviewers give them a good score, and then the product they actually send to the store for you to buy, they keep the same model number, all of that, but they switch out like a part on the device that actually hurts the performance. But they don't label it as any changes have been made. So you're buying an inferior product even though you're being advertised to with the better one.
Yeah, so the Samsung 970 Plus is the product that they were reviewing. Yeah, and like really most people wouldn't be able to tell the difference. So like they had to like look at it, and it's like a slightly different I don't want to say manufacturing code, but like part number on it is slightly different. But yeah, they're selling it as this product. You think it would be the same that they sent to the reviewers, but they're actually sending a crappier product to people.
To put it in like more basic terms, like it'd be like sending a car to a reviewer with a V8 engine with like a turbo on it, and then sending that same car to the dealership and taking the turbo off and like selling it as the same car, like with the turbo logo on the back and all that. Like you think you're getting a turbo, but you're not getting a turbo.
Which is crazy to me that they would do this. But again, most people wouldn't check. And like
no, because you have to actually peel back the sticker and see, like, because half of them have the good chip and half of them don't. So, like, it just depends on what factory they came from, I guess. But they're still the same model number and part number. Like, the only way to tell is if you almost put a magnifying glass to your chip and see, like, okay, this part of the chip is from this factory. This is the good one. You know, and it's the same price and the same SKU, all that stuff. So it's just common practice right now. I think they called out Crucial, Western Digital. Samsung was a good brand to buy from. Then they added them recently to this list of brands that do this type of practice.
Well, like you also wonder, like, what other items do they do this for?
Yeah, luckily in this industry, there's a lot of people that scrutinize all this stuff. So I think you'd probably know pretty quickly. But you're right. Like, how often does this happen in other industries and people just never know?
Like, you take your phone, for example. You're getting this phone. What are the odds? Like, a company sends this phone out to reviewers, gets great reviews, and then, like, they're sending it out with slightly less quality parts.
Well, that actually happens. So, for instance, if you get, like, I think one generation of the iPhone, one time, one of the cameras was a Samsung camera and the other one was a Sony. So like half the batches had the Sony and half the batches had the Samsung. And you couldn't really tell much difference, but there was a slight quality difference in the actual camera, but they wouldn't label it anywhere. You'd have to tear your iPhone apart to know like if you got the one with the Samsung lens and parts or the Sony lens and parts.
Yeah, and they're hoping, man, again, 99% of the population is not going to do that. It's just for like these reviewers and these people who take apart all these products and review all these products that are really into this type of stuff are the ones that are going to find out.
Yeah, there's like a whole like YouTube channel that just about tear down, and they just tear down like electronic devices and tell you what's in them, and that's how they spot these types of inconsistencies a lot of the time. So, you ready to jump on to the next one? The next one is about Amazon and how they incessantly want to take down their competition just because they can't like compete in the arena. So
sue. I'm going to sue you.
Yeah,
I'm going to sue you.
They become sue happy all the time.
Well, they just got so much money, so they have nothing else to do.
Yeah, so Starlink is a recent like not a startup, but it's from SpaceX, Tesla, sort of all the same brand, sort of. Elon Musk is behind all of it. But Starlink was the satellite internet. I think we talked about it a bunch on this show in the past. But it's just a way for you to get good internet in remote locations through satellite. And Amazon's supposed to have a competitor to it, but theirs isn't even off the ground yet. It's not even supposed to be out till 2023 now. So what they're doing is they're doing this stall tactic where they're like filing injunctions against Starlink to say, hey, you can't operate this way or you can't do this. This is, like non-competitive or whatever.
Yeah, and then they also sued SpaceX because NASA chose them for like next couple missions over Blue Origins. And they sued Microsoft over the contract with the Pentagon. I think Amazon wants to be this great tech company, and that's not what they are. You're an online delivery company, and that's what you do. They want to use like their cloud, like their data-driven cloud storage, and like their, the Blue Origin offspring of it, like of Amazon, and like their technology's not there yet. So the only way they can compete with these other companies that is pretty much their sole focus is to sue them and hopefully slow them down, because they've been losing a lot of contracts. Government contracts to these other companies.
Yeah, so I just don't agree with their methods, and I think they are, like, Starlink is, like, basically shouting out that basically all Amazon's doing is just trying to slow them down so they can catch up.
Well, yeah, Starlink is already in, like, the beta testing. Like, they already have customers. They're already launching low-level satellites in, and Amazon's not even close to it. So if like Starlink gets there first, there's not going to be like a real desire for another company to do that. I mean, there's also other smaller companies doing it too. And like Amazon's are so far behind.
But eventually there's going to be a need for multiple companies to do this, right? Because as we saw recently with Hurricane Ida and a couple other things, like when the power goes out and when the cell phone towers go out, you need some other mode of communication. So if there's a good satellite network out there that you can text people on or chat on or whatever, that's going to be something necessary eventually.
I think it would be it will be necessary, but you'll still have your generic cellular companies, you're not. It'd be great to have as a fallback. Yeah, and that's what. That's what Starlink is supposed to be, like areas of the country that can't really, in the world that really can't get service. And that's why they're trying to do it. But my thing is, if they get there first, like in, say, rural Montana, where there's not really internet connection, is there a need for multiple companies to be in that area?
There is, as far as like for pricing concerns. It's always good to have competition. But what Amazon is doing is they want the lion's share of this stuff, or at least a chance to compete, and they feel like they can't compete unless they're about at the same pace as Starlink. Since they're so far behind, they got to slow Starlink down just enough so they could catch up and get some of those customers that are going to go to Starlink.
Yeah, like if Starlink doesn't price himself out, I think those people would stick with them if it works.
Exactly. Yeah, that's true. That people will stick if they've already bought the equipment and all that.
Yeah,
because
that's what you have to buy. You have to buy like the startup packet, which isn't cheap. Was it like 1,000?
Yeah, I think it was like 400 to 1,000 just for the startup like equipment to get going. Yeah.
So if you buy that, you're not going to be like, well, no, I'll buy this Amazon one and then have to buy their equipment from there too.
Yeah. So we'll see how this plays out, but I just don't like Amazon playing this role of the spoil sport and just kind of like using the laws to like bend things their way. I guess that's what all big companies sort of do, is they try to skirt the law and use the law to their advantage. But I guess it's just I just don't like business done that way.
No, they've been losing out on contracts, and then they're trying to find some technicality that will let them get these contracts.
And I don't know of any other company that are so obvious with their like what they do too. Like Amazon seems like so on the nose. Like, okay, we know you want this contract. We can tell that you're pissed. Like you're just it's just so obvious. Whereas other companies, they probably do stuff like this, but it's like not as on the nose and obvious that they're trying to like subvert another company.
Like with Amazon, I just don't get like, unless you don't like, I don't get like their end game. Like they want to get into all this stuff.
Profit.
Like
they just want to keep growing. They just want to keep
like
growing.
Like their data analytics and like Blue Origin and the Thursday Night Football contract with the Prime. Like what is your end game? But,
it's all about control. So if you have control over the internet and control over all these big industries, then you like in the end win out.
Yeah, but I think eventually some companies want to come along.
Walmart.
Walmart's making a play, but like Target's making a play that's going to be able to compete with them, like delivering stuff.
So, you ready to jump into the tech news bites, Alex?
Yeah, I guess so. Let me get the timer.
You're so dejected. Amazon's really ruined your mood. Amazon always like ruins your mood for some reason.
They just seem like a bad company.
Yeah. Like, yeah, I have Prime out of convenience, but like I'm with you. Like more and more each year, I'm starting to see them in a bad light where like they treat their employees poorly. Just what they do like hurts other businesses, hurts their employees. And sure, us customers might get some benefit out of like convenience, but it's not a good company, I don't think, to support.
No, it's not. I mean, but they should always show those commercials of their employees in the warehouses showing, like, hey, that's great. We do so much good. You know. Come on, buddy.
Tech News Bites.
First one up is online trolls are actually just assholes all the time, study finds.
Yeah, so a study in the American Political Science Review determined that most people, the online behavior mirrors the offline behavior. So it was like long thinking that, you know, like people just jerks online because they're not seeing people in real life and all. And what they're saying is that's not really true. It's just people are just jerks or like hostile offline or hostile online too.
Which makes sense. And I guess when they actually came up with this study, their thought was it would be the way you're saying. Their thought initially going in was like people who are nice in real life have a chance to be mean on the internet because they have no restraints or they have anonymity. But that's not the case. Like people who are jerks in real life are jerks online.
Yeah, and they said that less hostile people offline really aren't interested in talking like politics or things online. So they don't really comment as much.
That makes sense. Yeah.
But I know I do think like some people on the internet take it too far. Did you see the thing on Wednesday, the day off Twitch? I must send you the article.
No, I have not seen that one.
I guess like Twitch is having a real bad problem with hate speech on channels and stuff, and like people that's using bots to like overflow chats and on certain channels, and a lot of homophobic, racist, sexist stuff.
Lots of like bullying type
yeah. Thing. So, and like people are saying Twitch isn't really doing anything about it. Amazon company. But so like there was like yesterday was like a whole day off Twitch, and like the one guy I saw that's always on Twitch every day. He's like, "Oh, I'm doing YouTube for today because it's day off Twitch."
I saw somebody actually permanently move themselves over to YouTube. And I'm like, I don't know if YouTube's much better either.
No, but they can do something to protect. Like they can monitor these more, but like shut down these chats. I think a little bit quicker. There should be a way to do it.
But that study did go against what I thought. I thought that people, like the internet, gave people the ability to just be jerks, even though they weren't jerks in real life. But that's not the case.
No, the thing about the internet, though, is usually you're around like the group of people you like and all. And then you see like an asshole out, and you're like, I don't talk to that asshole. He's an asshole. But on the internet, like they're commenting on stuff that you're reading and all. And then you're kind of dealing with that person that you would never deal with in real life.
You have to deal with them. You can't avoid them. So, all right. Next one up is Google's new AI photo upscaling tech is jaw-dropping. I think this is like I've been waiting for this to happen for a while now because you've always seen it in TV shows where they like enhance. It's always in like the CIA show or like the FBI shows where they like get a crummy little photo and somehow they enhance it and like find out somebody's identity. But that's actually becoming a reality. Like they've developed like a tech to enhance like very, very blurry photos.
So yeah, it takes images and adds like a bunch of noise to it, they say, and it gets like one image, and then they scale that image back down to like a better picture of what was actually there to begin with. It looks good. They showed like process, like they can make something blurry, make it look clearer, or they can make something small and make it bigger, and it looks really good.
Yeah, I'll actually post the article in the show notes, but they have a lot of examples, and I'm like, this is like a professional grade, photo. Like, you can't really tell that it was ever like doctored up in any way, shape, or form.
Yeah, it would be nice, because I have like some pictures like that are blurry that I would like better copies of. I think this would be nice to use. I don't know like how widespread it would be anytime soon, but looks like they're getting there.
It's slowly getting there because, like, if you're using the feature on your phone called Night Sight, you ever take a picture at night and somehow it's super clear?
I don't believe in the night.
Yeah, I know. But that's using similar tech where they've developed this artificial intelligence to, like, make pictures more clear. And this is just the next step and taking existing photos. But yeah, they said this would maybe restore family photos or even be used in medical imaging. So like the camera that goes inside your body probably sucks. There's not much light in there. So the computer can enhance that and they could maybe find out where a tumor is or, something wrong with your body. So
no, my body has those dead lights that it has in the movie It. So it's pretty bright.
All right. Next one up is #Apple2 receives nearly 500 stories of workplace issues in 4 days. Is this shocking? This is not shocking to me because I think every single workplace that has people in it are going to have issues like this.
Yeah, so like the issue is like these people said they've gone to like HR, human resources, and like nothing's been done. Human resources is just I always consider it like that's whatever like the owners or runners of the company wants it to be. So if your company really wants like you to come with issues, they'll handle those issues. If your company wants everything to be hunky dory and everything's fine and you just need to stop complaining, that's what HR is going to do, and that's what it seems like Apple's HR is going to be. And if you ever read anything about Steve Jobs, I'm not surprised that's how like Apple's mentality is.
Apple's all about their image. They don't want to like expose that they have something going wrong in their company internally.
Yeah, they don't want any like toxicity getting out there. It's not a great place to work because Apple's like the cool hip company.
So I feel like any of this type of stuff they'd probably either sweep under the rug or just kind of take care of it over time or quietly.
Well, like supposedly the stories are going to come out starting Monday, and like with the #Apple2. No, but I think a lot of companies have a history of like just brushing stuff, especially if it's like from like a boss or something like that, that's brushing it under the rug.
Yeah, I guess if they're a high performing individual and they've earned a lot of money for their company or like headed up big things for the company, they probably don't want that person to like get a bad name or reputation because that will hurt their brand. And Apple's all about their brand image, so obviously they're not gonna like take down people that are like supporting their brand.
And also, companies value people higher up than the people at the bottom. But also, no one should have to work in like a toxic work environment.
No,
work everything should work. You should just go in and do your job. You shouldn't have to deal with any issues like racism or sexism.
I 100% agree with that. And it's kind of weird that we never really heard much out of Apple because we've heard stuff out of Google. Everybody just assumed that Apple was holier than thou or like perfect in some way. But if you have 126,000 employees, you're going to have problems no matter what.
Some of these companies are very good at keeping this stuff under wraps and thus moving stuff on. Or a lot of times it's like, oh, that's just an outlier. They're just a disgruntled employee. Like the problem is like Google stuff got out because then it was so many employees coming forward saying this happened to them. It was like the same thing with this where they just had a group of people saying like, yeah, this happens. The work environment here is not good. A lot of times when it's one or two people, it's easier to shush.
Do you think Apple just didn't have like a lot of people speaking up, or like maybe they just didn't feel like they could talk there?
A lot of people like the tech especially early on, but now like the tech industry, like how it exploded. There's so many jobs and so many people are looking for tech people. I think the options are more open for people to leave. I think a lot of it's probably like, hey, you keep going with this, you won't have a job any longer or stuff like that.
Yeah, I guess you don't want to say anything bad about a prestigious company like Apple, like the richest company in the world. Nobody wants to like slander that company because it's like seen as like almost like a reverent company. Like it's the closest thing to like a if you get an iPhone, you're in almost like a religion or something like that.
Well, yeah, they have those people that no matter what Apple does, it's still fine.
Yeah, so that's a dangerous thing. Yeah, I feel like that's kind of dangerous.
At my one job, I had issues with the owner. This was at the Future Jam. And I just took it to the HR, and they handled it, so.
All right, ready to jump on to the next one?
Yeah, let me set my timer. My phone lock. Go!
All right, this is actually a local story, and I thought I'd add it because I feel like it has some national appeal. So the future of recycling, Rumpke, they're like a local trash and recycling company, but they're using AI-based sorting robots in its local facility here. And I don't think a lot of people, this kind of flew under the radar a lot, but back in 2018, China stopped buying all of our plastic recyclables. Like we used to pretty much export all of our plastic recycling overseas to China. And over there, they just kind of like throw away what they didn't use. So since 2018, companies have had a hard time like getting rid of this plastic recycling material, and it's a tough thing to do. But eventually, they found a use for the number 5 recycling material. I think that's like the tubs and that sort of thing.
Yeah, like the yogurt tubs and the butter, like margarine tubs.
So that's like highly sought after right now, but it's hard to like hand pick all those items out, and those conveyor belts fly by pretty fast. So what they did was they developed a AI robot like arm sorter that could grab out the number 5 tubs. So I think that's a cool idea. They're also working on sorting out number 2 plastics as well.
Yeah, they're training a whole bunch of robots to be able to sort it's not mail, trash. And then they sell it to companies that actually use it. So, like, it's a way for them to kind of make money off this trash that they're already collecting. They said they are investing $2 million into it. And they'll sell it to whoever, like, all around the country. And, like, they already sell company like cardboard and stuff like that. It's already sorted out and sold to different companies. So, like, it's just another way for them to make money and probably be easier and more efficient. I'm all for it. The more stuff we recycle, the better, I think. So,
yeah, plastic's one of those things where like a lot of it doesn't get recycled. So I'm all for like them like coming up with a good strategy to do that. But next one up is there's going to be a new robo taxi out on the road. It's from the Lyft company and Hyundai. They're using the new Ioniq 5, which is a pretty. If you look. Go onto YouTube and just type in that vehicle. It's one of the coolest looking electric vehicles to come out. It kind of looks like a 16-bit era vehicle. Like the lights are all squared off. Like it just looks really cool. Like you'd see in like an old 16-bit racing video game or something.
Yeah, if you think it looks cool, I guess. I didn't think it looked cool. I was like the complete opposite of what.
Well, I mean, as the taxi, like the driverless taxi goes, it has all these cameras mounted all over it and sensors, so it kind of...
it fits. It does... I don't know. It fits. It's fine. I don't know.
It kind of ruins the appeal of it a little bit. But if you actually look at the stock, like one you could buy like off the market, it's kind of cool looking. I think it's the coolest looking electric vehicle on the road right now, but that's just my personal.
I know what I'm buying you for your birthday.
I mean, I looked it up. It's not sold in our state. For some reason, it's only going to be sold in like 13 states.
Your state or my state? We live in different states.
Neither of our states. It's all out
Okay.
west. For some reason, they don't like these car manufacturers don't sell like their electric vehicles in every state yet. A lot of them are like 7 or 13 different states.
Do certain states not?
No, it's just like the charging infrastructure might not be there yet, possibly.
That's what I was thinking, the charging for, and like maybe the market's not there yet in these certain states.
Yeah, the market's not there. But yeah, go on to the story.
In 2023, they're going to, Lyft is going to be able to, you can be able to hail a robotaxi Lyft. Yeah, so it's the company Motional that's teaming with Hyundai. Motional is the one that's doing like the autonomous driving. And they said these cars are supposed to be level 4 autonomous, so no one has to be behind the seat. Right now, it's mostly out of Las Vegas, so I imagine this is where they're going to start.
Yeah, but it just makes sense because with the pandemic, there was not a lot of Lyft drivers and stuff like that anymore because they all moved on to something else because there wasn't enough people taking Lyfts to generate people to drive. So it was harder to find them. So if they automate all this, you'll always be able to find a Lyft.
All right, next topic.
Next one up is Apple says Arizona and Georgia will be the first to add state IDs to the iPhone.
Would you put your state ID on a phone? I say no.
I don't see why not. Like I've said in previous episodes, I'd prefer not to carry my wallet with me at all.
Well, would you do like the phone, like they have those phone cases with the little slit in the back?
No, I don't want to do that. No thanks.
Why not?
Because it adds extra bulk. I could carry my phone in my front pocket. Like I don't need any extra girth in my front pocket.
Yeah. No, yeah. So Arizona and Georgia are the first ones to do this, and then they're followed by Connecticut, Iowa, Kentucky, Maryland, Oklahoma, Utah.
It's going to be all the states.
Eventually, I think it'll be all the states. They said TSA will confirm that don't have special areas in the airport that will allow this. I don't know. I don't like having that much information on my phone.
I mean, it's all out there anyways. Every time you sign up for a credit card, you have to give your ID. Anytime you sign up for a lot of things, you have to give your ID information. So it's not like it's some secret thing.
Yeah, but I always give fake information.
Okay. I don't see like the issue. I guess maybe you could make it easier for somebody to steal your identity if they found out your password. But if you lost your wallet, that's the same thing. They could just have your ID. And if they don't look like you, how are they gonna really get that far with it?
No, but they would look at my picture and be like, well, that's a handsome man. I should give back his wallet.
But yeah, I don't see what the issue. Do you have where this could be a bad thing?
I just don't trust I don't really like having my credit cards on my phone. I don't like having my ID. That's just me. I don't know why. I feel like I don't know why I think this, because it's probably the same amount, but I'm more likely to lose my phone than my wallet for some reason. But they're always with each other, so I don't see why not. I'm also like, if I know I have my wallet on me, I'm not afraid. Like, I can be hacked at any time. If I know, like, if my wallet's lost or stolen, I at least know when that happens. You could be hacked for a while and not know.
Yeah, I mean, I assume if Apple Wallet or whatever gets hacked, you'd probably know pretty quickly.
Hopefully.
Yeah, hopefully. Hopefully you don't. It's not like T-Mobile where they string you along for a couple weeks and some message board finds out before T-Mobile announces it.
Yeah. Next topic.
All right, next topic. South Korea will force Google and Apple to allow third-party payments. This is a long time coming. That's what all the epic lawsuits in America have been about. Everybody is suing Apple and Google because they force a 30% cut for anything bought on the phone from the store. So what South Korea is doing is saying if you buy, like, for instance, if I signed up for NFL Game Pass on my phone, Apple or Google is going to take a 30% cut. So with this new rule, sign up for Game Pass, you could just buy it directly from the NFL, not buying it through like the Google app or the Apple app.
Yeah, so Apple and Google are always like, well, we put these on our store, so we need like a cut, which I kind of get where they're coming from, but like also all these developers make apps for you. You're not the ones actually making a lot of these apps.
Yeah, if it doesn't really make sense because if you go to a website and the Chrome browser is Chrome, you're using the Chrome browser to go to the website. Does Chrome deserve 30% of what you've spent in the browser?
No, and 30% was so high.
Yeah, it's a
Like
lot.
that's a lot of money. And like for the longest time, it's just like, yeah, we can do this. And it took like a company like Epic that could go toe to toe with Apple or Google because they have a ton of money.
Yeah.
Epic is Fortnite, if you didn't know. That's the moneymaker, and they have other games, but
that's why companies don't want you to sign up for stuff on the iPhone directly because they're losing a big cut. They'd rather you sign up like over the phone or on the internet and then log into the app. Because if you sign up for like Netflix on the website, you can still log in the app and then skip paying that 30% fee or whatever.
And it's kind of a big deal to South Korea because South Korea is a huge technical country. It's not like one of these, like you've been seeing some small European countries trying to fight back, but this is like a more advanced technological company, especially with their phones, with Samsung being based there, that this is a big move.
And one final thing about this is if you were like a company that for some reason didn't fit into these rules or like tried to circumnavigate it some way, like they would like remove your app from the store or like take forever to approve your app to even get approved to be on the store. So basically what this does is it just opens up the app store to more developers and more types of content. So I'm all for it. I think there's no need for Apple and Google to take that huge of a cut. It's just ridiculous.
Like I can see like 3% or something like that, but 30 is just so much.
Yeah, and I guess they could get away with it because they're just kind of like a monopoly.
Yeah, and that's what it is. And that's what there's been, 23 states that are looking at antitrust laws against Apple and Google right now. So this is coming to the United States. It's just not there yet.
Yeah, I can see this coming around the bend probably in the next couple of years. Just Apple and Google have such a stranglehold on the markets here that it's going to take years for people to agree to like a rule to take them down a little bit. All right. Final story of this week is China further slashes kids' gaming time to just 3 hours a week. This is ridiculous. I didn't know that China did this.
Not surprised, though?
Not surprised at all.
A little surprised because China is, in like the gaming world, a kind of a powerhouse.
Yeah, they're known as like a nanny state. So any game that comes out over there that has content they don't agree with, you have to edit the content before it goes there.
I mean,
or
like
it gets banned. That's type.
I
of
mean,
stuff.
like in esports, like they have a lot of big gamers in esports. Like like it's a nation that has like. If you look at the Overwatch League, they have a bunch of players from China and all in there. So, like, I'm surprised at how limited they are.
Well, it's obvious from these rules that, like, they want their society to be as productive as possible. Like, they're so about, like, their people are, like, a means of production. Like, they almost treat every single person as, like, a cog in the wheel. Like, it's just one of those things where, like, they want everybody to be, like basically a machine.
Yeah, so what it is kids can only play video games between 8 and 9, Friday to Sunday, and then also on public holidays. They want real name data for all users that play games, and then they want, like, offline games. They want, like, a hookup to anti-addiction systems. This really seems, what you were saying, but also seems like with video games where like the little bit older generation from that we had is like don't understand video games, or like this is stupid, how are you wasting your time playing it? So it really seems like kind of like that, like this is just a waste of time.
Yeah, and I agree. And also they've slowly like taken out the window a little bit because I guess back in 2019, people could play for 1.5 hours per day, like the kids. Now it's like down to 3 hours a week, which that's just got to be terrible for a kid. Like if you have a sleepover, friends come over to play some games, and the government shuts your access off. Like, do they not rely? Like, do they not trust the parents there or the head of the households to control these types of things themselves? Like, I just can't imagine living in a country where they would have these sorts of like regulations and rules.
When you were growing up, did you have any like requirements when you were playing video games? Not requirements, but
no, like, yeah. My mom would like shut it off after a couple hours, or it just depends on if I had my homework done. All sorts of things. Like, if it was raining out, I'd get more playtime because there's nothing else to do.
Yeah, we were only allowed to really play on the weekends, but like also our like systems were mostly. It was only in like our main TV. Like we didn't really have it in our rooms.
Yeah, I didn't have anything in my room ever.
So like we mostly on like the family TV. So it's kind of just like Saturday and Sunday morning we could play when like no one else was awake.
I think it's crazy that the government has that much oversight over what goes on in your home, and that's just. I feel like living in that country, they're in your phone, they're on your computer. Basically, they have full control over your digital life, and if you say or do something they don't appreciate or like, you're probably going to get fined or possibly lose your job or lose your social status or all sorts of things.
Yeah. Makes you thankful that we live in America.
Yeah, anybody who ever knocks America and like how we have to wear masks here because we don't have freedom. Like, we have so many more freedoms than a lot of countries have. I didn't add this to the docket, but recently there was that Australia thing that passed that basically the Australian government has full access to everybody's phones now, where they can read, write, copy, delete data without a warrant, and they can add, they could add incriminating stuff to your phone or take stuff off your phone that would prove that you're innocent. So, we don't have those types of things here really, but I could see stuff coming down the pipeline.
Yeah. And that's all I had.
All right. That's all we have this week. You can find us at The Future Jam on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. And send us an email at thefuturejam@gmail.com if you have an idea, a complaint, or, let us know if we got something wrong.
Yeah, and enjoy your holiday weekend.
Yeah, enjoy your Labor Day weekend. I hope you're listening to this while you're cruising somewhere nice.
Woo!
Woo!